following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Main Street Media, live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, is presented by Shelter Insurance of Dixon and Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter. And in part by Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, Steve Jones Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat, Jeff Eby for State Representative, Red Bird Realty, Porter Brothers HVAC LLC, Area 51 Tech Solutions, Micah Blunt State Farm Agency, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint, Denton's The TV Store, Fast Stop Markets of Middle Tennessee, C&K Forklift Service and Repair, First Lending Solutions and Pam Witt, and by the Roxy 8 Theater of Dixon. And welcome into the Wednesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from SEC Media Days in the College Football Hall of Fame. Big show as we do each and every day this week while we're in Atlanta. Heather Williams, our regular Wednesday conversation about NASCAR, so stay tuned. That's coming up in just a few short minutes. We'll talk Arkansas today. Bob Holt will join us tableside to talk about the Razorbacks. Also, reaction to Georgia was at the podium earlier this morning. Kirby Smart, Billy Napier, we'll hear from him. Also, Kentucky making an appearance today. And so much more. It is Wednesday. Oh, that means a little wild and wacky Wednesday today? No wild and wacky Wednesday. There's enough wackiness to go around up here on Radio Row. So we'll not waste any more time as we get you over to the Hall of Famer, Mo Patton and Sundrop Kid from Alabama. Chris Yao, happy Wednesday, fellas.
Happy hump day indeed, JP. Happy hump day indeed. I guess we do kind of have a wild and wacky top story. Because if you were expecting to catch Texas A&M's SEC Media Day appearance tomorrow, you're going to catch one fewer announced player.
Or one different
At least
player,
one different player.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Texas A&M has found themselves in a bit of a pickle when it comes to the wide receiver Aniyah Smith, Mo.
Aniyah Smith scheduled to appear, as you said, with A&M tomorrow in the final session of SEC Media Days, will not, after being arrested early this morning on weapons, drugs, and driving while intoxicated charges, and has subsequently been suspended by A&M coach Jimbo Fisher. Well, yeah.
This ain't Miami, Mo.
I'm saying a lot of places, apparently. So, yeah. So Smith will not be traveling with the Aggie contingent to here.
That's
Don't know if there will be a replacement or if they'll just go with the other two guys.
They may just go with two. I'm not sure. You know, it's how would you like to be that player? Hey, listen, we know you weren't our first choice, but you want to go to Atlanta? Coach ain't even packed. You don't need no clothes. We coming right back.
Ain't got no suit, coach. Yeah. I mean, have you seen these guys walking around here?
Is anybody close to Aniyah's size available?
There you go.
I mean, yes, these guys are walking around looking.
They're looking
dapper.
Nice. Yes. And good for them.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we talked about the shoe game a couple of days ago with Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz. And I guess since then, that's not quite been the focus. But those guys they were looking sharp.
Absolutely, they have all week long, and we've had a blast, man. What a day it has been so far. We have recorded some interviews. We've got a lot of stuff that's going to come your way on Friday, and I promise you're not going to want to miss Friday's show. But a lot of stuff going on today. We got some news. We have two top stories today because One and Nice kind of came in late, but we heard some rumors, some rumblings, and then confirmed with SEC Communications Director Chuck Dunlap another new location for SEC Media Days in 2023.
Yeah. A location that will be familiar to some of our
And
listeners.
they're coming
Most of our
to
listeners.
our
To our city. Yes, yes.
They're going to ride up and down Broadway on their old stud Leroy. They're going. It's going to be.
Stop.
It
Just
is
stop.
going to be a blast.
Hashtag,
That's a rough way to start the show, Chris.
hashtag SECMD23 will be coming at you from Nashville.
That's
So,
right. The Hyatt Place, about a block off of Broadway, a block from Bridgestone Arena, and
Freshly minted Hyatt Place.
freshly minted.
Yeah, 'cause
It's not ready yet.
It's still in progress,
That's right.
right? Yeah, so hopefully they get it done,
Yeah,
right?
let's hope.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I am looking forward to it.
And you know,
Already.
as I talk to other media members around here, they seem to be looking forward to it as well. A lot of folks are excited about this event coming to Nashville, and again, as we spoke to Chuck Dunlap to, I guess, confirm that what we were hearing was accurate. He mentioned that, you know, it's been in Hoover for years. It's here in Atlanta this year. It's coming to Nashville next year. Apparently, folks in Dallas are really pushing to get it out there. I'm not sure how well that will go over.
It won't.
Yeah.
Like a lead balloon.
Yeah, well, like the basketball tournament in Tampa.
About like the basketball tournament in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean,
Look,
I
we've
just
tried
think
this.
that's I
We've
think
tried
that-
this random location thing. It doesn't work. Sorry,
it's a little
Dallas.
bit far. It's a little bit far out of the footprint. I mean, I get Texas again wanting to announce their presence with authority, but I'm just not sure how good an idea it is taking this event to the fringe of the Southeastern Conference footprint. So
Yeah, Atlanta's a little different. Yes, it's you know on the it's in the east and it is kind of,
but it's Atlanta,
but it's Atlanta,
and I think,
and this is the mecca of SEC football
well, I mean, it's here.
and college football. But SEC football, the road starts in Atlanta now and ends in Atlanta now,
Exactly.
and I think that's kind of a big deal.
And I think the large majority of SEC-related folks, you know, be they fans, be they media, are used to coming to Atlanta for some reason or another.
Sure.
Coming to Atlanta is not a big deal in terms of how hard it is.
But let me tell you, I've made the drive to Dallas, and it ain't
Different
easy,
story.
and it ain't fun.
And
Especially when your team loses in
And
an
you gotta
outdoor
drive
hockey game,
back.
you got to drive back immediately.
well, I mean, imagine making the drive to Dallas or getting to Dallas from Lexington, Kentucky, or from Columbia, South Carolina, or from Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know,
easy.
Nobody wants that.
Sure, it's not easy at all.
So, yeah.
There you go.
But
That's-
we don't have to worry about Dallas just yet.
no, you're right.
But next year, again, it's coming to your city.
It's coming
I'm not trying to sing it.
to Nashville, baby. And so make sure that you are ready and willing to open your arms and hearts and pocketbooks, I guess. For
It's media day. I mean, I'm not sure how much the average Southeastern
don't-
Conference football fan is going to be affected by it one way or the other. But
well, I mean, here's the thing. You know, we haven't seen a whole lot of fans here, but I bet you Tennessee fans show up in force, especially if they have a good year.
if they have the
in
season
2022.
that folks are expecting them
Absolutely.
to have this year, yeah, that's a good point.
Better watch out.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy.
Whole
So
lot of orange.
looking forward to it. All right, we are set to welcome Heather Williams on the show coming up. We'll talk about Georgia in this hour. We'll react to some Kirby Smart comments that JP has so adequately put together.
Adequate.
It's
I'm sure JP put them together more than adequately.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We've got All-Star Game reaction coming at you, and then in the second hour we'll have Bob Holt talking Arkansas. We'll react to Billy Napier, Cookeville native technically, and Mark Stoops, coach of the Wade twins, and I guess he's
Among others.
I guess Brady.
Yeah,
Brady Pierce is a preferred walk-on at Kentucky.
Barry and
right now.
Brown.
Barry and Brown
From
Pearl Cone.
Yeah.
So all of that, and of course we will give you our final thoughts of the day, all coming up a little bit later. Right now, though, we're going to send it to JP and tell you about all of the things that happened in the world of sports yesterday and today.
All of the things?
All of the things. Literally everything right now.
Don't blink.
This is the rundown.
All right, yesterday's results, there's one. The All-Star Game, American League, gets it done again. 3-2 winners over the National League. WNBA action last night, Connecticut 82-63 winners over New York. Atlanta 92-76 over Las Vegas. And Los Angeles 86-79 winners over Indiana. One game on the slate tonight.
It's today. It's actually
Chicago,
like happening right now. And I don't
Seattle.
Know. Yeah.
All right, WNBA happening as we speak.
Which, not unusual, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That is your Wednesday rundown. Told you, don't blink.
Chicago won that game 78-74. So there you go. It's over. If you were planning on watching sports tonight, that's too bad. So sad.
Got the ESPYs, right? ESPYs tonight?
Is that tonight?
I think the
Normally on the
ESPYs
Wednesdays?
are typically the day after the
Yeah.
All-Star game.
That makes
so
sense.
That's about it, though.
That is about it. All right, we're going to come back, talk NASCAR, and maybe some high school hoops with Heather Williams of WCYB TV. So stick around on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. And SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt, and Heather Clifton. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Still to come on this edition of Main Street Sports Today, we'll be joined by Bob Holt talking a little Arkansas Razorbacks. Also reaction to Kirby Smart, Billy Napier, among others, downstairs from earlier today. Day 3 of SEC Media Day rolls on from the College Football Hall of Fame.
Welcome back in. It is Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint from the College Football Hall of Fame and SEC Media Days. Thanks to Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton, taking care of you in the insurance world out in Dixon. If you are looking for insurance, make sure to go see Jim and Heather. Speaking of Heathers, we have a Heather of our own. set to join us as we get ready for a little NASCAR. And boy, what a weekend it was, and what a week it will be, going from basically a short track to one of the longest tracks, if not, I think it is the longest track in NASCAR at Poconos. So now we welcome from WCYB TV, Heather Williams. Heather, what's up?
What's going on, guys? I wish I was down there in Atlanta with you, but, work and things.
Hate when work gets in the way of a good
I
time.
know.
Yeah. It's been fun, Heather. Miss you. We've been able to talk to some really cool folks, and it's good that we're still being able to talk to another cool folk right now with you. But as Chris said, interesting weekend this past weekend, interesting weekend coming up with Pocono, but in between, it's been interesting as well. And I don't know what Chris was planning to talk to you about, but I want to ask you about this first ever NASCAR street race that's been announced in Chicago for 2023. That's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's something that's been in the works for a couple of years. I first got wind of them wanting to do a street race in Chicago maybe about this time last year. And it's been kind of fast moving, I guess, considering all the logistics that goes into it. I think the thing that's going to be really interesting to watch as this approaches closer is how NASCAR continues to make have the cars develop and how they run on the flatter tracks, because obviously a street in Chicago is pretty flat. And the flat tracks have really been kind of the weak spot of this next-gen car. So as they continue to try to develop how the cars are running at Martinsville or New Hampshire or some of these flatter tracks, I think that's really going to dictate how good the racing is going to be at the street course.
It's interesting to me as a NASCAR novice at best. They raced at the LA Coliseum earlier this year. They're racing a street race in Chicago next year. Really a lot of out-of-the-box thinking out of NASCAR here of late. What would you attribute that to?
A guy named Ben Kennedy. Ben Kennedy is the grandson of Little Bill France, great-grandson of Bill France, the founder of NASCAR. He's the son of Lisa Kennedy France, who runs vice president, runs some different parts of NASCAR. I'm not exactly sure what she's in charge of now. I know she used to be in charge of IOC, which is the tracks that NASCAR owns. And he's really the heir apparent to be the next chairman, the next France in charge of NASCAR. And he's really the guy he's 29 years old. He's really the guy that's been kind of trying to push NASCAR forward and kind of grow the sport and make it a little bit more I don't know how to describe it, diverse sport. I don't mean diverse in skin color kind of diverse. I mean, he definitely wants that as well, but diverse in the kinds of tracks and the kinds of their fans that they're attracting, not just the hardcore fan, which he talked about yesterday in his press conference. It's really important to him and the France family to keep those guys. That's why they're making the push to revive North Wilkesboro and Nashville Fairgrounds and those kinds of things, but also to try new and different things that other motorsports are doing to see if they'll work in NASCAR to maybe attract an F1 fan out to a street course race for NASCAR or something along those lines.
His quote on the NASCAR website referring to this event, really excited about announcing that for the first time that with our national series that we'll be bringing it to a street course, and what better place to do it than downtown Chicago, such an iconic city. You think about the history of sports there, the iconic monuments and facilities around Chicago, and the support that we've had around Chicago as well. Mix that in with the great racing that we've seen with our NASCAR Cup Series. Certainly going to be a special moment in the summer of 23 as we go street course racing for the first time with this series. So there you go.
Yeah, and Chicago used to be the first race of the playoffs when they raced at Chicago Land Speedway. But the problem with Chicago Land Speedway is it wasn't in Chicago. It was in Joliet. It was like an hour and a half away from Chicago. And it's kind of the same thing with the LA Coliseum. They race Fontana, but Fontana's not LA. And NASCAR really wants to get these races and their sport into actual top, 5 markets and cities, and in those actual cities, not in tracks that are, 2 hours away from the city. So by going to the Coliseum, by going to the street race in Chicago, it puts them in the actual city and in front of more eyeballs.
They're going to run on, they're going to run on city streets in proximity to many Windy City landmarks, including Grant Park, Buckingham Fountain, and the edge of Soldier Field. And Michigan Avenue and Lakeshore Drive will be part of the 2.2-mile layout. So it's intriguing for sure.
Yeah, the racing may be terrible. Who knows? But everybody said that the racing was going to be terrible when they went to the Coliseum, and the racing was great. So you never know till you try it, And I think they did 3 years because sometimes it takes a little time to figure these things out. The first year they raced on the dirt at Bristol, it was terrible. But last year it was pretty good, or this year it was pretty good. So, sometimes it takes a little bit of time when you're doing something like this that you've never done before to work out some of the kinks and some of the logistics in pulling off an event like this. So I think that's why they gave them 3 years, and we'll see. If it doesn't work after 3 years, we can always go somewhere else.
There's that.
There is that. Yeah.
It should be a lot of fun, and obviously Nashville has a street race in IndyCar, and it was really cool last year. I expect it to be cool again this year with the Music City Grand Prix. So looking forward to NASCAR racing the streets of Chicago. Looking back, Heather, at this last week, it certainly appears, and we talked with I don't remember who we talked with about NASCAR earlier this week. Randomly, we were talking about how it appears that there may actually be a car that wins a race and doesn't get into the playoffs because
who was it?
I don't remember who it was we were talking to.
Lord.
But Christopher Bell, first-time winner this year at Martinsville, and
Ryan McGee.
I'm sorry, not at in New Hampshire, not Martinsville. Yeah. I don't know where I came.
Yeah, it was in New Hampshire this weekend.
I have no idea where.
It was Ryan McGee that we were having the conversation with. Yeah,
but it's going to be wild. Yeah, he's fairly knowledgeable, but it's wild how this season has kind of turned out so far.
It's all about the next gen car. It's really evened out the playing field for teams, and not just like evening it out for the Michael McDowells of the world, which he's having one of his best seasons ever, or the the Chris Bushers of the world, but it's also evened it out among the top teams. All of a sudden, you don't have Kyle Larson winning 9 races. The top winner this year only has 3 races. By this last year, I think Kyle Larson had 5 or 6 wins. So it's evening it out and spreading it out among the top teams as well. That's why I think it's really possible that we can have more than 16 winners, because there's so many good teams that still haven't won races. You haven't seen a race win from Martin Truex Jr. You haven't seen a race win from Kevin Harvick. You haven't seen a race win from Eric Almirola. You haven't seen a race win from Bubba Wallace. All those guys are guys that won races last year and capable at the right track to win a race again. And then you've also got a kid like Chris Buescher who's running really well, who's running the front, who absolutely could win a race, especially the super speedways. So, I just named 5 guys. There are 7 races left. And only 2 spots to get to 16. So I think there's a really good possibility to get to 16 and possibly to 17. And I talked at Atlanta to some of those guys that are sitting down there at the bottom of the race wins, like Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric. And both those guys said, yeah, we're nervous. What we really like to do is go get another win so we don't have to worry about it. But they're not only watching now, how many wins they have, but where they are on the points. They don't want to be the bottom guy in points with a win, because that guy's definitely on the hot seat.
Yeah, and speaking of Christopher Bell getting the win, it's really impressive. Toyotas have been really good. Obviously, we talked last week about him getting some of Bubba's pit crew members and them swapping. Bubba finishes 3rd at a non-super speedway, which certainly was a
not a good track for him. New Hampshire is not a good track for Bubba.
And that certainly hinders some of the arguments against Bubba Wallace that I've heard. So, I don't know if it was a Toyota thing or what, but all 5 or 6 Toyotas finished in the top 12.
Yeah, no, they definitely had a good weekend.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah, and it's gone that way, right? It seems like one manufacturer every week is the guys that are leading the way, and that's just hitting on something at the super speedway or at the certain speedway that they're at. Obviously, Toyota hit on something right off the truck at New Hampshire, and they were fast. But I think the important thing is with Christopher winning and Bubba finishing 3rd is that it proved that this crew swap was good for both teams, right? Now we'll see, they both won't have terrible races this weekend at Pocono, maybe not, but, sometimes pit crews are all about chemistry. And even if the chemistry was off just a little bit, maybe if one guy didn't really like somebody or they didn't really have the same timing, all those things can make a difference in a pit crew and how it operates. And just tweaking it just a little bit made a huge difference for both guys. They obviously both had their best non-super speedway races of the year.
Heather Williams of WCYB TV in Bristol visiting with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. As we mentioned, racing at Pocono this weekend, and we'll get to picking with Heather in just a second. But before we do, Heather, some news broke over this past weekend as Science Hill boys basketball coach Ken Cutlip, who won 505 games over 18 seasons in Johnson City, has departed and is coming our way. Will be the new boys basketball coach at Columbia Central.
He's coming to our city?
He's coming to our city. Yeah, it's a theme today. Taking over the Columbia Central boys basketball program. That position was vacated when Nick Campbell resigned after 4 seasons back in May. For our listeners in that area, give us your thoughts about Coach Cutlip, not to be concerned with Coach Cutliff.
Yeah, no F.
No Fs.
He's just a winner, right? I mean, his teams, no matter how talented or deep they were, they always found themselves near the top or at the top of the Big 7, Big 6, Big 8. It's kind of switched around a little bit here, depending on the population of the schools, but always of that conference. His teams were always competitive. They were always 1 or 2. He won a ton of games because he just knows how to coach kids up. I've seen him win championships in years where you knew that they were not the most talented team in the conference, but he just found a way to get the most out of his guys and to win games. And I think his teams are always going to be entertaining to watch because they're going to be disciplined. They're going to do things the right way. They're going to play defense. And I think that people up your way will really enjoy watching his teams because they're always going to be competitive.
What progress has been made here in the last few days in terms of determining a successor for him? Do you know?
I have not heard. From my understanding, the athletic director at Science Hill was about to leave to go on vacation when all this dropped. So I don't know. I think he's on vacation this week, so I don't know that any significant moves have been made in that direction. I certainly haven't heard of anything, just a couple of rumblings of names of people that might be interested in the job. But I think because the AD's on vacation this week, there hasn't been any significant movement as far as I know.
Okay. Also want to mention, in addition to Ken Cutlip coming to Columbia Central as boys basketball coach, his wife Missy will also be the football and basketball cheer coach at Columbia Central. So it's a package deal.
Yeah, and I believe he also has 2 sons, one that's going to be a sophomore and one that's going to be an 8th grader. I believe that both play basketball as well. His oldest, or I don't know if he has 3 or 4 sons. Anyway, one of his sons just graduated last year from Science Hill, was one of the top players on the team last year. So there's some athletic talent there. So, hopefully you'll not only be getting a coach, but maybe a couple of players that can help you guys out as well.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Heather, before we let you go, we have to find out who's going to win this Sunday at Pocono.
Pocono is such a tough thing to judge. They call it the tricky triangle because all 3 corners are different and it only has 3 corners, right? I mean, what racetrack is shaped like a triangle? It's very difficult. Generally, it is not a good track for young drivers, save Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin can right out of the bat and just own Pocono from his rookie year, but that's the exception, not the rule. Generally speaking, it's older guys that can be disciplined and deal with the differences in the different sides of the track. But then again, with the next gen, who knows what the car's going to do on the next gen. But going on history and trends served me well last week. Martin Truex Jr. put it on the pole and probably should have won that race if not for a little pit strategy mistake that his team made late in the race. So I'm going to go with my gut feeling and go a little bit on history here, and I'm going to pick Kevin Harvick He needs a win really badly. He's a veteran driver. He knows how to get around Pocono and how to figure out how to manipulate the differences in those turns as his crew chief. They've worked together forever. And so I also think Ford is kind of like, this is a track that the way Ford has run, the mile-and-a-half tracks, the more horsepower tracks, Ford has been better at than some of the short tracks. So I like Harvick.
There you go, Kevin Harvick, the predicted winner for Pocono. Book it as our
that
successor, we'll say.
By the way,
yeah.
In Bristol here last week, the casino opened up.
Aye, we heard.
We have a sports book. Bubba Wallace almost made me a very happy woman. He was a 1 to 1,000.
Oh, man, that could have been big.
Yeah, could have been big. With very little money spent out of my pocket.
Right? I mean, just who knows? But, yeah, he had a great run. He really did have a great run.
He did.
So. Heather, we appreciate your time as always. We look forward to talking to you next week, and we will talk a little more NASCAR then. We appreciate it.
Have fun in Atlanta for me.
We will do just that.
Make sure you go by the varsity.
Slaw Dogs for the win. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Georgia Bulldogs. Hear from Kirby Smart, what he had to say. Coming back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, to the College Football Hall of Fame and SEC Media Days. Coverage brought to you by Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt, and Heather Clifton. Back after this.
How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, see agents Jim Pratt or Heather Clifton in Dixon.
At Porter Brothers LLC, we look forward to discussing your plans, resolving concerns, and making improvements to the comfort, health, and efficiency of your home. With the right system operating at its best, you save money, better enjoy the living environment, and increase the value of your investment. We handle all makes and models for seasonal HVAC maintenance and repairs and offer free estimates on replacements. Call us today at 615-446-8067. 615-446-8067.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
As a two-term county commissioner, we built the County Justice Center and the Burns Middle School, all while maintaining a budget surplus. We were able to secure additional funding for all of the volunteer fire departments to get the vital equipment that they need to do their job. I fought on the front lines in Iraq. With your vote, I'll fight on the front lines in our community to give you a voice. Let's do this together.
Paid for by Jeff Eby for State Representative, District 69.
Area 51 Tech Solutions is focused on expert service with quality parts at an affordable price. Their passion is custom-built gaming desktop computers, virtual reality setups, and gadgets, but they also specialize in servicing and repairing all major brands of electronics, including computers, tablets, cell phones, HD TVs, and game consoles. Based in Dixon, they service Middle Tennessee from Clarksville to Murfreesboro and Portland to Columbia. Call them today at 615-379-8113 or visit area51techs.com.
When you think about buying a new or pre-owned car, you might immediately feel anxious about pushy sales staff and being forced into a decision that might not be the right one for you. Our team at Steve Jones Automotive in Dixon is nothing like that. We want to help you find the perfect car, not just the first car you test drive. When you visit our dealership, you'll also see the pricing up front without having to haggle or ask for a special discount. We want to earn your business for life. Come experience the progressive car buying experience with no pressure at Steve Jones Automotive in Dixon, Tennessee, just a short drive from Nashville and the surrounding area.
Founded in 2005, Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, has a reputation of consistently offering the lowest possible rates and, above all, providing outstanding customer service. Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, takes pride in treating our clients with honesty and integrity. We provide excellent service and experience you can trust for all your mortgage needs, proudly serving all of Tennessee. Apply today. Call Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, 858-518-1506, or online at www.firstlendingonline.com.
NMLS number 314276, ID 135932. Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. This segment on this Wednesday, talking Georgia, is brought to you by Lee Realty Group. It's officially teamed up with Keller Williams. Good news there. Lee Realty is still locally owned and operated, but now associated with one of the biggest real estate companies in the world. If you're ready to get your home or market on the market but don't know where to start, well, just call the Keller Williams Lee Realty Group. They're located in Dixon, Tennessee. Let experienced agents help you with your real estate needs. Call them today, 615-446-2006, servicing all of Middle Tennessee. Visit their Facebook page, Keller Williams Lee Realty. Time to talk a little dogs, gentlemen, as they were the feature team today in Atlanta.
Oh, no question that the folks around here were pretty excited about seeing the defending national champion take the stage here in Atlanta.
We kind of got a warning as we were pulling into the parking garage this morning when we saw all of the vehicles with Georgia plates.
Yeah, you know those when you're driving up those parking garages and everything is, you can tell the news channels here from all across the state, not just, here in Atlanta, but, from every little nook and cranny in the state of Georgia is here to hear from Kirby Smart and his players. And I thought it was a pretty interesting morning.
You ready to hear some Kirby?
I would love to hear what did Kirby Smart have to say.
Okay, all right. A couple of things he got into today as he sat down and took questions from the media pool. First up, of course, asking, how does he keep his team, the mentality, up to that hungry level following winning the national championship a year ago?
Well, you don't change. You don't change who you are. You don't change the way you go about things. There's no stone left unturned. When you're the leader of the organization, you're trying to always be relevant. You're trying to stay on top of things. You're trying to monitor things. You're looking for a better way to do things. I was very fortunate to work for one of the best in the business at doing it after winning one, and a lot of those same habits we had already created. So the question and narrative is, you just won one, how things change. Well, we had 5 straight years of finishing in the top 7. Those were pretty good years. We had to come back after those good years. We lost good players those years. So I'm looking at it as we're going to continue to do the same things we do, but how do we refine the process? How do we do the process better this time than we did last time? That's what we're trying to do.
I was going to say that did sound an awful lot like the process, and then he confirmed it.
It's the process, yeah. And, it makes sense, How do you just keep doing what you're doing or try to do it better? And
right.
Yeah, again, to his credit, Georgia won a national championship last year, but it's not like they've not been good prior to that. Played for a national championship
was
4 years ago.
Was, one field goal away from being a national champion.
So, they've had their opportunities. I think the bigger question with Georgia this time is how do you replace some of the pieces of that national championship team, more so than how do you go about your business to stay in that position?
Well, I think that's exactly what he just said was we're going to replace it by going about our business, because it's not about the name on the back. It's about the process, and it doesn't matter who the player is. At Georgia and Alabama, it doesn't matter who the player is. Those guys are all really, really good. It's just a matter of which one is going to go through the process to fit into that system, and it's like plug and play. I mean, Alabama has had more defensive linemen drafted in the last 15 years than Nick Saban has lost games. I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
It's not about the players. I mean, it is, because they get really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about the name. It's
You got to get them to
to
buy in.
Exactly.
Right? To buy in, which is exactly what Kirby talked about in our next segment, how to get these players to buy in, what sold them initially when he first
I talked a little bit about it, about the skull sessions and the commitment we had to our kind of team DNA. So we spent a lot of time last off season coming off of the COVID season on bonding as a team. We sacrificed a lot of meeting time on football to say, you know what, let's just get in these groups and have these open sessions and have these hot mic sessions where you can come in and talk about anything you want to talk about and get to know somebody. And I don't know, the players really bought into it, and they don't do it unless you do. So we had I don't know what you would call them, informational packets each week. The coaches had to present this material almost like a curriculum, like you're teaching a class. And I thought that the coach buy-in made the players buy in. Therefore, there was this really great connection that the players enjoyed being around. They embraced that. They thought that was a weapon, like a pass play.
There you go. It's easy to buy in when you're the defending national champion, isn't it?
You would think so. I mean, it's easy to sell. When you have some success and you can go back and show folks, see, this is what happens when we do this. And it makes it, you would think anyway, again, that it would make the buy-in going forward a little bit easier. So.
Yeah, I think the buy-in certainly a lot easier now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his point with that, after listening to it a couple of times, was about getting those coaches to buy in, the players seeing that from the beginning. It obviously has paid off. But what we talked about, obviously, getting these players in, it all starts with recruiting, right? He was asked about his first recruit. He talks a little bit about that and maybe how some things have changed over the years.
Man, you're going way back. I think you evolve as a recruiter, right? So you don't just stay the same. If you stay the same, you get passed by. So it's really cool when you think about I feel like I've been recruiting forever, and I'm 46. So my first job, I got cut by the Indianapolis Colts. I was recruiting for Georgia in 1999, I think it was, maybe 2000. I'm recruiting there, and I'm relatively young, and I was a different recruiter then than I am now. But my first recruiting story was probably at FSU. Because at Valdosta State, we had to recruit kids, but it wasn't as high profile. You had to wait and see where kids went. But I was a GA at FSU, and a coach told me one time, he said, you want to be considered for an assistant coach job? You want to be treated like an assistant coach? Dress, act, and recruit like one. And when you're a GA, nobody will treat you like a GA. He said they'll treat you like an assistant coach if you act, behave, and present yourself that way in everything you do, whether it's shaving before work, whether it's how you dress. And I thought, okay, so I approached it like I was an assistant coach. And I remember I recruited a kid out of Jacksonville, Florida. I think he played at Mandarin High School, but Tony Carter. I started recruiting him. I was allowed to go work camps, so I went and worked at camp he was at. I got to be around him for 3 or 4 days. I got a really good relationship with him. I was a graduate assistant at FSU, and I ended up signing him, and he was a top player in the country. And it let me know, it gave me the confidence that, you know what, I can go against these other coaches, even though I'm a graduate assistant. I think I've got a good bond with players. I played the position, and it was my first real recruiting battle. And he's now a coach, so he stays in touch. He comes and visited, and he played the NFL for about 10 years. But he's a great young man, and he's my first recruiting story.
And now you just got to hand him bags of money. Real easy these days. You ain't got to work no camps. Work camps. kidding me?
Georgia's been pretty good at that too. So, but yeah, I think you have to look good while you hand them the bags of money.
you got to shave beforehand, apparently.
Absolutely, yeah.
No,
yeah.
but that's true in any walk of life, though. I mean, you
Dress for the job you want.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just how it goes. And look, I love that Kirby is. This is one thing that I do admire about Kirby Smart, and he's so similar to Nick Saban. Obviously, it's hard not to be when you work for a guy for that long, and you're his number two. You know, it's the way that they go about their business, but also the way that they treat their athletes. They treat their student athletes they love them hard, but they also, you know, you can tell that, you know, they get on them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot like we've heard before. It's the trust and love, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
more on that in a couple of days.
If they trust you that you have their best interest at heart, they're going to take that tough love and use it as motivation. And that's exactly what Kirby has been able to do, and it's helped that buy-in.
Now, I heard it, and I don't remember who I heard say it, but I've repeated it. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And once they do, and that's at any level.
Any level.
Once they know how much you can coach them as hard as you want to, and they'll do anything for you.
They certainly will.
Yeah. So.
Which is, and that's the thing. It's all about getting that buy-in, especially when you've got, 40 players who are 3 stars or higher, and only 22 can play. Or obviously you've got some backups, but I mean 22 can start.
Yeah.
So you've got to have those guys, and again, in the world of the transfer portal and the world of NIL and that sort of thing, that's what you've got. You've got to make those relationships last for however long those players are there, and Kirby does a great job of it, and that's part of it. So
yeah, no question. I got one more.
All right.
And this is about his quarterback, who did come back after winning a national championship. But as always, when you're number one, how can you get better? He answers that question.
Well, he can be a better leader. He can make more plays with his feet. And I think when you put someone in the role as the quarterback and they're the starter, they immediately get some credibility. He probably didn't have that credibility this time last year. He had not been put in that role. He's earned that role. He's earned the right to start. He's embraced it. He takes that responsibility head on. And he chose to come back, after winning a national championship, and said, I want to go do something special. I want to go play football. I want to enjoy the game. I think it's just kind of who he is. And the biggest thing he can do for us is make sure that he's throwing more touchdowns than he is interceptions. That's what I tell him all the time. Keep that touchdown to interception ratio the right way and make plays. He's got a lot of good players around him.
Stetson Bennett is a really fascinating
yes, he is.
Figure. Because, and I've seen this before at the collegiate level, I honestly believe if Kirby Smart was honest with folks, they've tried to recruit over Stetson Bennett every year he's been there. They've ran quarterbacks at him, and some kind of way he has managed to maintain that position. And he's not a guy that's going to wow you with his physical talents and that kind of thing, but all he does is win. That's what he showed you last year.
He reminds me a lot of Jay Barker. I mean, let the guys around you be who they are. Let Derek Lassick and David Palmer be Derek Lassick and David Palmer.
He's kind of a point guard.
Right. Very, very much like a point guard. Just don't make mistakes. And
he may not win you a game, but
he won't lose
for the most part, he's not going to lose you a game. And I guess that kind of goes back to what Kirby was saying about that touchdown to interception ratio.
Just keep that on the right side, and you're good to go. And we talked that Stetson Bennett, was kind of looking to maybe transfer after this season. Obviously, I'm sure he's glad he hasn't, and he will come back and try to double up and go back to back.
Here we go.
That's going to do it for our Georgia segment, brought to you by Lee Realty.
Yep, give them a call, 615-446-2006. Lee Realty Group now teamed up with Keller Williams, one of the biggest real estate companies in the world, servicing all of Middle Tennessee. Visit their Facebook page at Keller Williams Lee Realty.
All right, we'll be right back after this. We'll talk a little baseball All-Star Game reaction coming up on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Coverage from SEC Media Days and the College Football Hall of Fame, brought to you by Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt, and Heather Clifton. We'll be back after this.
How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, see agents Jim Pratt or Heather Clifton in Dixon.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Don't overpay for your next home entertainment system. Visit the folks that have been selling, installing, and repairing TV, stereos, and more for the last 40 years. Denton's, the TV store in Dixon, has the largest selection of high-end TVs on display. Denton specializes in professionally designed unique TV, audio, and video systems for the whole house, man cave, or outdoor space. Stop by in the Dixon Plaza across from Kroger or call 615-446-2222. Denton's, the TV store. It's in the name.
At Redbird Realty, we are committed to providing you with the highest quality service in not only finding your cherished home, but also a wise investment. With over 27 years experience in the real estate industry, we offer high quality service and we treat our clients the way that we would like to be treated. When you're ready, we would appreciate the opportunity to learn more about your real estate needs and answer any questions you may have. Call us at 615-476-2879. 615-476-2879.
With 14 locations across Tennessee, family-owned Fast Stop Markets knows you need simple. The one-stop shop for fuel, food, and more now offers Fast Stop Perks, an easy-to-sign-up rewards program that turns your purchases into points that you can spend like cash. You can also win prizes, join clubs, and save big. Get your Fast Stop Perks card at checkout or download the Fast Stop Perks app to start earning your points today. Fast Stop Markets, keeping you moving.
C&K Forklift Repair understands that a non-working forklift puts a hold on your team's ability to do its job. Our certified technicians work quickly and efficiently 24 hours a day to repair and provide maintenance on your forklift using only high-quality replacement parts. With over 15 years' experience, C&K Forklift Repair also provides training and instruction for forklift operators covering all of Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. Give us a call, 615-651-2735.
State Farm Agency Micah Blunt is proud to bring you live coverage from SEC Media Days. Micah was born and raised in Tennessee and takes pride in providing the highest degree of protection for all customers. State Farm offers auto, home, and life insurance at the price you can afford. Located in Dixon, Tennessee, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Give Micah and his team a call today to help with all of your insurance needs. Serving all of Tennessee, call 615-229-2999. That's 615-229-2999.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
We are back live from the College Football Hall of Fame and SEC Media Days here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us cover this event, Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, I just got one question. First of all, you keep pulling this tweet up, and we need to have a conversation about this tweet.
I've been trying to hang on to that.
Where are we
tweet.
all right. Okay, so you want to hold this for the parting shot of the day? Okay.
Yeah, because it
It'll
doesn't
be
really fit
wild
anywhere
and
else.
wacky, a little wild and wacky, a little bit.
This is pretty wacky for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. Listen,
Okay.
don't go away, because we have one of the most outlandish screenshots I've ever seen. So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Here's my question. First of all, George Plaster is sitting over our left shoulder. And I tried to make a bet yesterday because George said the National League was going to win the All-Star game.
And then he gave it the kiss of death.
Clearly gave it the kiss of death.
Because he threw a bucket on it, didn't he?
I think I'm the one who might have said that. I think he did, actually. Here's what I'm telling you. I'm in the state of Georgia, and I didn't win any money yesterday because I couldn't bet on it.
But you didn't lose any money
But I didn't
either.
lose any money either. Will the National League ever win another All-Star game? Ever?
It's hard to say because after scoring 2 in the first last night, they wound up losing 3-2 on the strength of a Giancarlo Stanton 2-run homer in the fourth, and
that literally mashed the ball.
Literally. Is that not amazing, that picture?
The ball was flat on one side.
And then in the very next at bat, Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins hits a solo shot that stands up as the game winner. So the game was scoreless for the final 5 innings. And the NL was hitless from the 2nd to the 7th.
When Austin Riley got a base hit in the 7th inning.
There we go. So the Braves counted for 2 of the 4 hits?
2 of the 5 hits.
5, okay.
They had 4 going into the 7th.
Because Acuna led off the bottom of the first with a base hit with a double.
Yeah, he doubled.
And then scored. Mookie Betts drove him in, right?
Mookie Betts drove him in with a single.
Yeah.
So. And then Goldie hit a jack.
Yeah. After Mookie got wiped out on a double play.
A beautiful double play.
Yeah.
I wish we had video of that.
Yeah, featuring a behind-the-back feed from Guardians second baseman Andres Jimenez to White Sox shortstop Tim Anderson, who flipped it to first for the.
Well, he threw it to first, but it was offline, and the first baseman had to make the tag.
Vladdy had to come off.
Yeah, Vladdy had to come off and make the tag.
On Machado.
On Machado. So that was crazy.
But, yeah.
What a play it was.
That was nice. But, yeah, that was the American League's 9th straight victory in the All-Star game and their 23rd in the last 26 games. So your question is very valid.
I don't know that they're ever going to win one.
I don't know. I
But
don't know.
I thought it was great that obviously Ronald got a hit, scored, and would have had 2 hits if not for a shift in the All-Star game.
Come on now.
A shift in the All-Star game.
I mean, I'm glad Dusty got a win, but come on, Dusty.
Killing me, Petey.
Shifting in the All-Star game. A lot of players were mic'd up, and that was really cool. That was a different dynamic.
Especially when they were mic'd up to each other, the pitcher and the catcher having a conversation about how they were going to attack the batter.
Yeah, Nestor Cortez and Jose Trevino, both from the Yankees, talking through a scoreless 6th that was interesting.
I wonder if that's going to make its way into every day.
Well, I guess if Fox has got anything to do with it, maybe it will. Yeah. I hear the music, so
that means we got to go back in time. We need to get some time warp music for the get some little time warp music. But yeah, take us back in time. What happened this day in Braves history?
July 20th, 1970, with the score tied 1-1 and 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, Chicago Cubs reliever Ken Holtzman walks Hank Aaron.
On purpose?
I don't know if it was intentional, but whether it was or not, you would think that's a good idea. Except the next hitter, Tommy Aaron, hits a 2-run walk-off homer as the Braves defeat the Cubs 3-1 at Fulton County Stadium.
Well,
That's not the Aaron that you expect to hit home runs, but he hit a few.
He did, and won to win a game. So there
Absolutely.
You go. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to react to Billy Napier, Cookville native.
Billy Napier.
And apparently home to something.
Cradle of Coaches,
impressive.
Maybe? Yeah.
So Billy Napier of Florida, Mark Supes, Kentucky will react to their comments right after this. Stick around. Main Street Sports Days presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Coming back to the College Football Hall of Fame and SEC Media Days, brought to you by Shelter Insurance and Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton after this.
Main Street Media, live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, is presented by Shelter Insurance of Dixon and Jim Pratt and Heather.
How do you measure?
Main Street Media, live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, is presented by Shelter Insurance of Dixon and Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton. Shelter Insurance, we're your shield, we're your shelter. And in part by Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, Steve Jones Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat, Jeff Eby for State Representative, Red Bird Realty, Porter Brothers HVAC LLC, Area 51 Tech Solutions, Micah Blunt State Farm Agency, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint, Denton's The TV Store, Fast Stop Markets of Middle Tennessee, C&K Forklift Service and Repair, First Lending Solutions and Pam Witt, and by the Roxy 8 Theater of Dixon.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It is second half action here on Main Street Sports today on this Hump Day edition, live from SEC Media Days in the College Football Hall of Fame. Coming up, we'll be joined by none other than Mr. Bob Holt of the Talking Arkansas Razorbacks, as we'll get our Arkansas segment here in just a little bit, and some parting shots, and apparently a tweet that Mo is saving that is fits right into our wild and wacky. So he couldn't have a Wednesday without a little wacky tweet. So stay tuned. That's coming up. But we'll also have a little reaction to a couple of other teams that were downstairs earlier today, gentlemen. One couple of different shades of blue.
Plenty of different shades of blue at this table.
That's true.
A couple of different shades of blue down on the stage earlier as Billy Napier and Mark Stoops both took to the stage, so should be a lot of fun. And
hang on just a second.
Hey, we found something, and we are joined now by some folks from the College Football Hall of Fame. We found one more thing we need to gripe about a little. Can we get a water station on this area? Because we talk a lot up here. A water station would be phenomenal. All right, that's all okay. If we get water tomorrow, I'm coming to you, and I'm going to give you all the praise.
We'll be sure and say it in front of her.
And, Kimberly Bowden, the CEO, just walked by.
Along with Yaman.
Yeah.
Yaman
Yaman.
Yaman.
Yaman Smith.
Yeah.
And we just need some water up here. It's been tough. So we had to take that chance.
Yeah. Well, and Kimberly, but for those that may not be aware, obviously she's the president and CEO here of the College Football Hall of Fame.
That's correct.
And you can hear our interview with her on Friday's show.
That's right. It's going to be awesome. All right, now let's go to Billy Napier and hear from the first-year Florida head coach what he had to say on stage this morning.
Year one, you're learning your place, right? You're learning how to present your product. You're learning the community, the administration, the players. I mean, there's so many people that contribute to your team. So that's where we're at the University of Florida, and I feel like looking back was very similar at UL. And every day there's a problem to solve, right? And I think that this goes with year one. I often would say year one is like giving a year of your life away, because each day, man, there's just a handful of things that continue to pop up. So we're work in progress, much like we were year one there. We've got a lot of work to do to improve, but I'm confident we've got the resources and the people to do that. I think Brian's an unbelievable coach. Got nothing but respect for him, nothing but respect for LSU. I'm focused on the University of Florida, and we've put together a great group of people. I'm thankful for the belief the administration had in our plan, and the vision that we have for what we can do for the Gators. But I would tell you this, I am so appreciative of the experience I had in that state, in Lafayette, right? I mean, unbelievable experience. The people, the community, certainly the staff, and most importantly, the players. Well, I think defining expectations, I think he's got a really good understanding of all the different parts of the organization, and it's his way, right? So he's very methodical. He has his way of doing things, his systems. He defines expectations. He's consistent. He's fair. And then, I just think overall, a very disciplined person, in terms of how he uses his time. Phenomenal leader, always very well prepared, and really always evolving, willing to adjust, willing to adapt, always quality control in everything that we did. And, we take much of the same approach in how we operate. Yeah, the proof's in the pudding. I can specifically remember just looking back at notes from previous years, the Power 5 wins, the bowl record versus other Group of 5 conferences, the non-conference record when playing other Group of 5 teams. And then I think, Carl Benson did a phenomenal job when he made the decision to go to, these 10 East-West divisions, the championship game. I just hit that thing just right. But, I think that league is in the SEC footprint. It's Texas to the Carolinas. The talent pool is there. I think the administration's made commitment. They've added a handful of teams and kind of, branched out a little bit. But it's a great league with quality personnel and quality coaches.
So there you have it, Billy Napier talking to SEC media this morning. And, honestly, what he did at Louisiana was incredibly impressive, and I will absolutely give him that credit, because he that's not a place that's easy to win, and they did it.
Yeah, we talked about LSU a couple of days ago. Brian Kelly led off the SEC Media Days, and the one thing that we talked about when we talked about LSU is the amount of talent that there is in that state, and they're the only game in town as far as Power 5 conference play. Louisiana, in that G5 mold, some kind of way, Napier and his staff were able to get enough talent in there to not just be competitive, but to be successful at a high level in the Sun Belt Conference and beyond. I mean, they were top 25 ranked for most of his final 2 seasons over there, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they were ranked 23rd to start the season last year, lost at Texas 38-18, did not find their way back to the top 25 until December 4th, when they went into the Appalachian State game ranked 24th, where they won 24-16 and then defeated Marshall in the New Orleans Bowl as the 23rd ranked team, 36-21. And, we talked a lot about what he learned from Nick Saban and being obviously on his staff. One thing he did not learn is how to lose to Lyle Monroe. Went 4-0 against the Warhawks in his time, something that Nick Saban cannot say. Wow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Little pot shot there.
Yeah, but
there are very few things you can take shots at Nick Saban about.
But Louisiana
Monroe
is one of them.
So.
There you go. Yeah. The one thing that Napier did say was, he kind of talked about Florida as like Louisiana, and I feel like some Florida fans are like, nah, bro. This is it. It just means more. But I mean, seriously, I think a first-year coach at pretty much any SEC school, it's going to be different.
It is different.
I mean,
the recruiting is different.
The recruiting is different.
You just spent 2 years in homes of some of kids that are never going to play at Florida, and now you got to completely start over. So it is different.
It's different from a recruiting standpoint. It's different from an expectation standpoint. It's different probably from a demands on your time standpoint. And so, I get wanting it to be the same, but I think you got to be careful with that as well, because I think if you go into Gainesville, Florida, thinking that this situation is just like Lafayette, Louisiana, I think you're going to learn some hard lessons personally. So
it's very possible. And, I'm just, again, we've talked about this a couple of times at this point. Coming off of the season Florida had last year and the absolute that team quit on Dan Mullen. It 100% quit on Dan Mullen.
Well, I wonder if that team quit on Dan Mullen or if Dan Mullen quit on that team,
I think
or if
both.
just everybody quit.
Everybody just threw their hands up and said, this is not going to work.
There were some nasty performances by that team late last year.
Well, Mullen was actively looking for another job in the middle of the season.
Sure. And if you are a player in the middle of that, why are you going to bust your tail for a guy
guy?
Yeah.
No trust. They got to trust you, and they didn't trust him, and so therefore they didn't want to play, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
But what we did see early in the season, and against Tennessee even, is this team is capable. They've got the talent. Is Billy Napier the guy to, are they going to shock the world? Are they going to shock the world, come out and be really, really good just because they are that talented?
I don't know if they are that talented to shock the world.
I mean, they have talent. I mean, I don't know that. Obviously, it's not Georgia, Alabama talent, but it's probably Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina talent. Probably. It's still Florida.
I guess we're going to see soon enough.
I mean, they don't have Hendon Hooker, but they do have Anthony Richardson.
I don't think Anthony Richardson is the passer that Hendon Hooker is.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have a Hendon.
You're right.
I mean, Hendon Hooker to me is a dark horse Heisman candidate.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, they got a lot to work with down there. I'm curious to see how it's going to work out. I hope it works out really poorly. Speaking as a Tennessee fan, obviously.
Another SEC East team I guess we need to talk about before we get out of this segment is the University of Kentucky and Mark Stoops, and obviously some local interest in that program with Summit standouts Destin and Keaton Wade going into their freshman seasons up there, along with Barry and Brown from Pearl Cone. So
And Brady.
I'm sorry.
Brady Pierce.
And Brady Pierce from Summit as well.
Can't forget Brady.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
kid. The smart one,
Yeah.
as they say, the smart triplet. The smart triplet.
Well, I'm not sure how Keaton and Destin are going to respond to that.
That's what they said.
Oh, well.
They were the ones who said he's the smart one.
Oh, okay. All right, then. All right, well, if they said it, then I got nothing. But I think so much of what Kentucky does this year relies on Will Levis taking the next step forward.
A lot of folks are high on him in draft boards. Some folks have him in the top 10. And I was reading a Tom Abraham tweet earlier as Tom sits directly in front of us, has all week. And obviously on his show he's talked about Will Levis a little bit about how, maybe we're a little – are we overhyping this kid? He finally tweets and says, no, I don't think so. He said, after watching him today and how he carries himself, and again, attitude and how you carry yourself is really half the battle of being a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about just your physical attributes. Levis has the attributes.
Yeah, I saw him walking around here earlier today.
He's got the attributes, and the way that he presented himself today at SEC Media Days, it looks like he's got a little swagger. And they are confident. They expect to be playing for an SEC East title this year.
You're going to love this.
I am.
Mark Stoops is a majority owner of a bourbon distillery.
Did not know that.
The facility makes William Tarr bourbon, according to Greg Sankey in his introduction. Tarr.
Oh, okay. 2 R's. Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Well, here's the thing. Did you know Mark Stoops is the first Kentucky coach in history to make it to 10 years? 10 years.
I did not know that. That's pretty impressive. I guess, Rich Brooks had some success up there. He probably could have gone 10 if he had wanted to.
Right. He probably could have. But
Fran Kersey, I guess, back in the 70s, I don't remember how it ended for him. Obviously, Alabama legend Paul Bear Bryant started there before he went to Alabama. So I imagine he could have gone 10, but.
Oh, he certainly could have.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, I mean, most coaches at Kentucky don't last 10 years.
That's right. And, he mentioned, he said, with the record and all that, he can tie Bear Bryant's career record, wins record, with a win in week 1 and can break it in week 2. He said, he appreciates that, and it's not really a time to reflect on it yet. But he does personally think about his mother because I want her to be there. For her to have 2 sons that have all-time wins at Power 5 programs with Bob at Oklahoma and myself at Kentucky, that's really the only focus I have is on my mother, to be able to be there and share in that moment.
That's pretty cool.
And we kind of talked about that with you. When you get to a certain age, you don't always get to share great moments with your parents. And for him to be able to do that would be really cool. So rooting for him to get those wins early.
Yeah,
certainly not
early.
not
early,
late in October. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Arkansas Democrat Gazette's Bob Holt to talk a little Hogs. We're going to call them all the way to Atlanta. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Our coverage here from Atlanta and the College Football Hall of Fame and SEC Media Days is brought to you by Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt, and Heather Clifton. Please come back after this.
How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, see agents Jim Pratt or Heather Clifton in Dixon.
At Porter Brothers LLC, we look forward to discussing your plans, resolving concerns, and making improvements to the comfort, health, and efficiency of your home. With the right system operating at its best, you save money, better enjoy the living environment, and increase the value of your investment. We handle all makes and models for seasonal HVAC maintenance and repairs and offer free estimates on replacements. Call us today at 615-446-8067. 615-446-8067.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
As a two-term county commissioner, we built the County Justice Center and the Burns Middle School, all while maintaining a budget surplus. We were able to secure additional funding for all of the volunteer fire departments to get the vital equipment that they need to do their job. I fought on the front lines in Iraq. With your vote, I'll fight on the front lines in our community to give you a voice. Let's do this together.
Paid for by Jeff Eby for State Representative, District 69.
Area 51 Tech Solutions is focused on expert service with quality parts at an affordable price. Their passion is custom-built gaming desktop computers, virtual reality setups, and gadgets, but they also specialize in servicing and repairing all major brands of electronics, including computers, tablets, cell phones, HD TVs, and game consoles. Based in Dixon, they service Middle Tennessee from Clarksville to Murfreesboro and Portland to Columbia. Call them today at 615-379-8113 or visit area51tex.com.
When you think about buying a new or pre-owned car, you might immediately feel anxious about pushy sales staff and being forced into a decision that might not be the right one for you. Our team at Steve Jones Automotive in Dixon is nothing like that. We want to help you find the perfect car, not just the first car you test drive. When you visit our dealership, you'll also see the pricing up front without having to haggle or ask for a special discount. We want to earn your business for life. Come experience the progressive car buying experience with no pressure at Steve Jones Automotive in Dixon, Tennessee, just a short drive from Nashville and the surrounding area.
Founded in 2005, Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, has a reputation of consistently offering the lowest possible rates and, above all, providing outstanding customer service. Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, takes pride in treating our clients with honesty and integrity. We provide excellent service and experience you can trust for all your mortgage needs, proudly serving all of Tennessee. Apply today. Call Pamela Witt, First Lending Solutions, 858-518-1506, or online at www.firstlendingonline.com.
NMLS number 314276, ID 135932. Welcome back to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Time to talk a little Arkansas Razorback football, and it's brought to you by Premier Woodworks, and is a small custom construction company based out of Gallatin, and specializes in all things woodworking, from outdoor living spaces, pool, houses, custom kitchen, bath, and whole home remodels to furniture, and everything, guys, in between. They're your one-stop shop for everything custom. More than happy to help your dreams and unique ideas become reality. They've done it for so many. So, Chris and Mo, why not for you? Why not?
I could answer that.
Yeah?
But anyway.
That's what Winona said. Why not me?
Why not?
Just like Winona.
You realize Winona and I graduated
I
together,
do
right?
know that. I know that for a fact.
We are hoping that Winona will make an appearance at our 40th reunion here in a couple of months. So
well, She'll like some of the songs I put in the playlist if she does.
Ah, there we go. I like that. Okay.
At least one. We'll have one in there for her.
Nice.
All right. We are here at SEC Media Days. Thanks to Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt, and Heather Clifton. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, and we are glad to have you guys with us. We're also glad to have Arkansas Democrat Gazette reporter Bob Holt with us. And, Bob, appreciate you coming up here and braving the winter weather.
Well, it's cold downstairs, too. I've had to walk outside a couple times just to warm up a little bit, you know.
You're not the first person that I've heard say that. And, you know, we thought it was cool up here, and then we went downstairs, and we thought it was colder down there. But you were saying that you feel like it's colder up here. I don't know.
It's just cold.
It is. It's cold. Absolutely. Bob, you've covered Arkansas football how long?
My first season was 1981, Lou Holtz, Southwest Conference.
Wow. Lou Holtz at Arkansas.
If anybody has seen it all with Arkansas football, it's this guy right here, Bob Holt. And I know you guys have got to be pleased. Arkansas fans have got to be pleased with what you've seen out of Sam Pittman since his arrival.
Yeah, he's really transformed the program. I mean, Chad Morris, all due respect to Chad, just a disastrous hire. There's really no other way to put it. Back-to-back 0-16 seasons in the SEC, and they had some of the most embarrassing losses in school history. I mean, they got beat by a pretty good North Texas team, and I'm in Fayetteville, but they got beat 42 to, I believe it was 17. They lost at home to Western Kentucky. They blew like a 20-some point lead on the road to a Colorado State team that ended up going 3-9 when Mike Bobo was there. So they just had some of the probably 3 or 4 of the worst, 5 or 6 losses Arkansas has ever had. And the Citadel, it's hard to top that one or bottom it, however you want to put it. When their very first game as an SEC member.
Jack Crow slander will not be tolerated.
Hey, believe me, I like Jack Crow. Jack Crow's a great guy, and he didn't deserve to get fired after that, I didn't think. The funny thing is the next week they beat South Carolina 45-7. But that was a day that will live in infamy, losing to the Citadel. But no, I like Jack Crow a lot. Jack's a great guy. I got to know him as the offensive coordinator, and covered it. Jack was a great guy. And
he was the head coach of Jacksonville State when I was there.
Well, it was crazy. However many years later, Houston Nutt, who was an assistant for Jack when they lost to the Citadel. Houston's the Ole Miss coach. Jack brings Jacksonville State in there, and they beat Ole Miss. So it was like Jack's been on both ends of those SEC teams getting upset by FCS teams. But no, I didn't say that to knock Jack Crow at all.
I know.
Great offensive mind, great guy. That was just a
bad day.
That was just a bad day. And Frank Broyles didn't have a lot of patience and got fired. Sorry, I got way off topic. But Chad Morris, that hire just did not work out. That's an understatement. And Sam Pittman, I think Arkansas talked to some sitting head coaches, some guys who are in the SEC right now. I mean, guys like Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz. I know the job's never offered to a guy unless he accepts it, right? But those were definitely guys that were in play. And for one reason, either they thought, hey, Arkansas, that's a career killer, or, maybe Arkansas thought, well, these aren't the right guys. And Sam Pittman really wanted the job. He'd never been a head coach at the, at Division I level. Great offensive line coach, 58 years old, but he really wanted the job. It was like his dream job. And so Arkansas needed a coach. Sam wanted the job. He had a really good interview. I think they could see his enthusiasm. He'd been a great offensive line coach at Arkansas, like he'd been everywhere else. And really, things started going south for Brett Bielema when Sam left for Georgia. I knew he was a top-notch recruiter. I thought he was a pretty good hire. I'm not going to tell you I thought he'd go 9-4 in his second year or go 3-7 against an all-SEC schedule, and really should have been 4-6. I mean, the Auburn game, that game was really taken away from him by, an awful call at the end. But Sam Pittman's done an incredible job taking over a really tough situation. But what I think it shows is, there were some NFL players on those teams that Chad had. There's just no way those teams should have been that bad. But the players did not buy in. Frankly, Chad didn't have a real strong staff overall. He had some good assistants, but overall it was not a strong staff. Sam's got a much better staff. he's been able to keep Barry Odom as his defensive coordinator going to his third year. Kendall Briles as his offensive coordinator going to his third year. Those are guys other schools have wanted, and they've gotten good offers. But I think Sam's a really good guy to work for, and they've kept, raising their salaries, which you got to do in the SEC to keep people. So, yeah, to me, Sam's done an unbelievable job.
It is interesting because very rarely do offensive line coaches end up as head coaches, but the offensive and defensive line is where games are won. So if you've got a guy who can coach your offensive line up, you got a good chance to win football games. So it seems to me like it would be a natural progression when overall it really hasn't been in the years. So it's really interesting, and I'm glad that Sam has gotten that opportunity.
Yeah, you think about it, like Danny Ford, who was also at Arkansas, but obviously made his name at Clemson. Danny was an old offensive line coach. Matt Luke at Ole Miss, who I didn't think did a bad job. No offense to Matt. Lane Kiffin's a really good hire. But, yeah, usually if you look at the history of hiring coaches in major college football, if they're not going to hire a sitting head coach, they're hiring the glamorous play caller or the guy that's got the dominating defense, like a Nick Saban or Kirby Smart or a Lane Kiffin type guy or whoever. But Sam definitely went against the grain. A lot of guys I know, national media, good guys, I'd see them and they'd say, man, that's a weird hire. Or, man, I don't know about that. And I'd say, well, look, number one, guys are not beating down the door to get this job. I said, number two, I think Sam's actually pretty good. The fans were excited about it because they knew about Sam. They knew he had really great offensive lines. They knew he'd help Brett Bielema have a lot of success. People tend to forget Brett had 3 straight bowl teams. They beat Texas.
Yep.
I think it was 31-7 in the Texas Bowl, beat a good K-State team in the Liberty Bowl. So a lot of that was Sam. And, one thing about Sam had an offensive line that had guys from 5 different states, including Frank Ragnow, who's basically an all-pro center for the Detroit Lions. So Sam could recruit. He had guys from, Frank was from Minnesota. They had guys from Colorado, Florida. Heck, he brought in a guy who was going to go with him to Tennessee and followed him to Arkansas from Hawaii. So Sam could recruit. And I think the biggest thing he's done is had a really good staff, and he's made the players believe in him, and the fans, believe in him. He just got a nice new contract, and good for him. But he's not going anywhere. He's a perfect fit for Arkansas, and Arkansas, I think, is a perfect fit for him.
Speaking with Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And Bob, that offensive line really comes into play for you guys this year because you really want to protect KJ Jefferson.
Yeah, well, KJ can run over some people. But yeah, he's a starter. I tell you, he took a lot of hits last year. He was their leading rusher. If you watch the Outback Bowl, I'm trying to remember. I think it was 7-3 or something at halftime. Or maybe it was 10-7, and then KJ just took over that game running the ball in the second half. And he's certainly not afraid to lower his shoulder and run over people. But, he also threw for 21 touchdowns, only had 4 picks, had a great touchdown interception ratio. They had a great deep threat in Traylon Burks, who's with the Tennessee Titans now. If you're Arkansas, everybody wants to keep their starting quarterback healthy, obviously, but if you're Arkansas and you have a big physical guy like KJ Jefferson, you don't want to take too many hits.
Right.
And they do have a veteran offensive line, 4 starters back, I think it is. And you feel like the strength of this team ought to be KJ Jefferson, who had a really good year in his first year as a full-time starter, and then a really good veteran offensive line and a good bunch of running backs.
Who steps in for Traylon Burks?
Well, it's kind of like Sam said today. It's got to be by committee. And, of course, like everybody, Arkansas went to the transfer portal, and they got a 5-star wide receiver from Oklahoma, Jaden Hazelwood. And, he didn't have Burks' numbers last year, but, of course, OU spread the ball around a little bit more.
Right.
But I want to say he had 39 catches for about 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think he led OU in catches and touchdowns. So that's pretty impressive because we obviously know what kind of high-powered offense OU had. Under Williams, of course, and Lincoln Riley, who are both at USC now. But he's a guy I think is going to really pick up a lot of the slack. They got a young guy, a sophomore, Ketron Jackson, who's a very talented receiver. They got a kid Thompson, who is a transfer from Florida State, where Kendall Briles had been. I think he's going to have to step up some. I think they'll get more play out of their tight ends. Trey Knox, who was a good wideout, he's bulked up and he's moved to tight end. I think he'll be a good weapon there for him at tight end. They might throw the running backs more out. But, yeah, it's like Sam said. I mean, there's no one guy. Traylon Burks is arguably the best receiver they've ever had at Arkansas. Put up monster numbers against, constant double-team coverage and just very physical, huge hands. Just made a lot of great catches against, in traffic. But I think they have enough guys not to put up. I mean, there might be 3 or 4 guys to duplicate his numbers. But the main thing is they're going to be a good running team. They're going to be a very physical running team, I think.
Trey Knox is a local kid for us, played his high school ball at Blackman High School in Murfreesboro, listed at 6'5", 233, so they have kind of bulked him up a little bit.
Yeah, he might be 240 by the time the season starts. I don't know.
20 catches for 141 yards and a touchdown last year in all 12 games, so looking for some bigger things out of him. Again, Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette joining us here on Main Street Sports today. You said that you never would have thought that Sam would go 9-4 this past year. Do they match that this time around? When you have a season like that, it kind of creates expectations, I guess.
And let me start by saying, if Nick Saban or Newt Rockne or whoever had gotten hired in 2020, I wouldn't have projected them to go 9-4 within 2 years.
Sure.
But yeah, I tell you, they could go 9-4. I honestly think they could have a better team. In other words, let's say you played a healthy 2022 team for Arkansas against the healthy 2021 team. I think the 2022 team would win. Obviously, I think KJ would be better. They're getting Jalen Catalon back, he's an All-American type safety who missed the last 7 games and played the couple games before that with a bad shoulder and broken hand. They finally just said, we got to shut you down and have surgery. But the schedule is so brutal. I think, if they can win 9 games, if they can go 8-4 again and win a bowl game against this schedule, I think it'd be real impressive because, they got to open up against Cincinnati, who I know lost, some good players, but that's a really quality program now, and they got to play at BYU, who's got a bunch of players back. We know that's a tough place. Arkansas's never played out there before, but, that's going to be a tough road game to win. And then they got to play Liberty with Hugh Freeze, and he's beaten some good teams there at Liberty. They'll be good. And even they're playing Missouri State. And I'm certainly not suggesting that Arkansas will lose to Missouri State. But Bobby Petrino is the coach there, the former Arkansas coach who had a lot of success his last 2 years. He's, known for being an offensive guru. I mean, that's not going to be some game, I don't think, where Arkansas is winning 35-0 in the first quarter. It's just a total walkover. I think that's not going to be your run-of-the-mill SEC cleans up on an FCS team. I don't think. Obviously, Arkansas's got better teams. So it's and then they got to play everybody in the West, and then they get, a break. Georgia's off the schedule. They played in the last 2 years. They get South Carolina, but obviously Shane Beamer's, doing well there. Rattler comes in. I mean, that's going to be a tough game. And then they got to go play at Missouri, who I think, Eli Drinkwitz, so they've had their 2 best recruiting classes probably in school history back-to-back. So there's really you just look at the games and you say, wow, there's an awful lot of toss-up games. I mean, they'll be a big underdog to Alabama. They'll be a big favorite against Missouri State. I'm sure they'll be favored to beat Liberty, but really, Missouri State win, Alabama. I'm not saying they can't beat Alabama, but obviously that'd be a huge upset. They haven't beaten them since 2006. But let me put it this way. Last time they beat Alabama, Mike Shula was the coach. So that tells you how many, they've lost.
We know exactly how that feels.
Yeah. So, but really you take the other 10 games, and I think a lot of them are toss-up games. I'm not saying Arkansas wouldn't be favored at home, but, you're going to play Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, South Carolina, Missouri. There's just a lot of games in there that, depend on which team is healthier, And so I think winning 8 regular season games, win a bowl game, I think that's going to be a pretty tall chore. I'm not saying they can't do it, but I think it's the schedule is what, if I'm an Arkansas fan, that's what gives me cause for concern if I was saying betting the over-under on wins.
Yeah, when you scheduled Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty, they probably weren't Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty of 2022. So that's just an unfortunate turn of events.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati going into the Big 12, so they're obviously going to be having better recruiting classes going forward and all of that. So, yeah, going to be a tough schedule for Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks, but I'm looking forward to it. KJ Jefferson has the opportunity to lead his team into another bowl season, and looking forward to seeing what happens. Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, he is here with us on Main Street Sports today. And, Bob, we want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you braving the cold weather up here, and look forward to seeing you later on and talking with you throughout the season.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, parting shots and a fun tweet that we found that is a little ridiculous. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Our coverage here from SEC Media Days is brought to you by Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton. We'll be back after this to Atlanta.
I also want to remind you that our Arkansas segment brought to you by Premier Woodworks. Call for your next home project. They can be reached at 615-218-6378, or you can find them on Facebook. Just search for Premier Woodworks, and they look forward to hearing from you. As they bring you today our Arkansas coverage, and we appreciate Bob Holt. Parting shots when we come back after this short timeout. Main Street Sports Today, live from Atlanta.
How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, see agents Jim Pratt or Heather Clifton in Dixon.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Don't overpay for your next home entertainment system. Visit the folks that have been selling, installing, and repairing TVs, stereos, and more for the last 40 years. Denton's, the TV store in Dixon, has the largest selection of high-end TVs on display. Denton specializes in professionally designed unique TV, audio, and video systems for the whole house, man cave, or outdoor space. Stop by in the Dixon Plaza across from Kroger or call 615-446-2222. Denton's, the TV store. It's in the name.
At Redbird Realty, we are committed to providing you with the highest quality service in not only finding your cherished home, but also a wise investment. With over 27 years experience in the real estate industry, we offer high quality service and we treat our clients the way that we would like to be treated. When you're ready, we would appreciate the opportunity to learn more about your real estate needs and answer any questions you may have. Call us at 615-476-2879. 615-476-2879.
With 14 locations across Tennessee, family-owned Fast Stop Markets knows you need simple. The one-stop shop for fuel, food, and more now offers Fast Stop Perks, an easy-to-sign-up rewards program that turns your purchases into points that you can spend like cash. You can also win prizes, join clubs, and save big. Get your Fast Stop Perks card at checkout or download the Fast Stop Perks app to start earning your points today. Fast Stop Markets, keeping you moving.
C&K Forklift Repair understands that a non-working forklift puts a hold on your team's ability to do its job. Our certified technicians work quickly and efficiently 24 hours a day to repair and provide maintenance on your forklift using only high-quality replacement parts. With over 15 years' experience, C&K Forklift Repair also provides training and instruction for forklift operators covering all of Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. Give us a call, 615-651-2735.
State Farm Agency Micah Blunt is proud to bring you live coverage from SEC Media Days. Micah was born and raised in Tennessee and takes pride in providing the highest degree of protection for all customers. State Farm offers auto, home, and life insurance at the price you can afford. Located in Dixon, Tennessee, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Give Micah and his team a call today to help with all of your insurance needs. Serving all of Tennessee, call 615-229-2999. That's 615-229-2999.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
All right, welcome back in. Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Coming to you live from Atlanta and SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. Thanks to Shelter Insurance, Jim Pratt and Heather Clifton. We've got about 4 minutes left, Mo, and we're going to talk about the best quality barbecue cities in the country. JP, according to Fox News.
Oh, boy, here we go.
According to Fox News
See,
graphic
I wasn't going to
here,
out them, but
according to a Fox News graphic, the best barbecue cities in America, there are 5.
Yeah.
You wouldn't guess any of them.
Give me your 5.
Well, based on that, I mean, what they should be, Memphis, Kansas City, Austin, should be part of that. Somewhere in Lexington, North Carolina. Any of those should be in one of these, right?
I can tell you none of those.
None of those. Okay,
of
well,
those.
discredit them, yeah.
So, again, best barbecue cities in America, according to Fox News. This is tweeted by @EvilMoPacATX, who says, please scrutinize your news sources because best quality BBQ cities in America are Clarksville, Tennessee.
Hey, go Clarksville.
I don't even know what
Does
that's
it give
based
examples?
on. It doesn't give restaurants or anything like that. It's just
Okay.
best quality BBQ cities. Clarksville, Tennessee. Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
Salem, Oregon.
Okay.
And Wichita, Kansas.
Okay. You know, I mean, that sounds like a good list for unknown great barbecue cities.
Or as programs have different meanings, maybe they mean cookouts. Maybe that's where the best barbecues are, not barbecue.
Yeah.
But see, that's the difference.
There's a difference.
Though. There's a huge difference in barbecue and cookout. I mean, if you are grilling out, then you are not barbecuing.
Yeah, and you do that on what apparatus?
On a grill.
Thank you very much.
Not a smoker.
Well, you can smoke things on a smoker.
Well, you can.
But you don't do either of those on a barbecue.
No.
Seriously, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
Clarksville, Tennessee, Lexington,
That's why
Kentucky.
it sat on my screen for basically 2
That was
hours
worth it.
here.
It's been brutal.
That was worth it.
I mean, I keep looking at it. I'm just like, what?
That's a dangerous rabbit hole, but that was worth it.
All right, we're going to
Thanks for not derailing the show and putting us in the first hour.
We would have been.
No.
We'd still be talking about
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
So we're going to get out of here for this Wednesday edition. George Plaster Show is coming your way immediately following @The Plaster Show on Twitter. Find @The Plaster Show on Facebook as well. You can find them on Main Street Media TV, YouTube, so check it out. We're going to get out of here. We'll come back tomorrow at 2 Central, 3 Eastern from SEC Media Days. And the final day, Tennessee, Auburn, and Texas A&M. For JP and Mo, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day and go watch George.